Welcome back to India Roundup. This is Chandni Krishnan bringing you the top national headlines of the week. India celebrates Independence Day 2020. On the occasion, Prime Minister Narendra Modi paid tribute to freedom fighters as well as to the country's security personnel, the armed forces, doctors, nurses and other healthcare workers. Independence Day has always been an outdoor event and a day of color and pride for Indians everywhere. The day is marked by the hoisting of the tricolour in schools, offices and neighbourhoods, singing of patriotic songs, listening to rousing speeches and sharing mithai. But this year was different due to COVID-19. Notably, children were missing from the festivities at the Red Fort this time. Across the world, many cities saw Indians coming together while observing social distancing and other pandemic rules. And in Canada, the Niagara Falls was illuminated in the colours of India's flag. How did you celebrate India's Independence Day? Do share your experience by putting your comments on this episode below. Railways to see private sector investments of around 30,000 crores. In a historic move, the Indian Railways is set to hand over 150 trains to private operators. 23 firms have shown interest in the venture, including Bombardier Transportation India and Siemens Limited. The private trains will be permitted to ply only on the 109 designated routes, but the operators will be free to choose the intermediate halt stations. The ticket fares will be set independently by the operator based on market conditions. Operations are expected to begin by 2023. Advocate Prashant Bhushan has been found guilty of contempt against the judiciary. In a case registered against Bhushan relating to two of his tweets, a court bench observed that his posts scandalized the Supreme Court as an institution. Bhushan has reiterated his criticism over the restricted functioning of the Supreme Court during the pandemic and said that bona fide critique of the actions of the Chief Justices of India cannot and does not scandalize the court. The senior lawyer could be punished with simple imprisonment up to 6 months or a fine of up to ₹2,000 or both. In a joint statement, 1,500 lawyers across the country have expressed dismay and urged the Supreme Court to reconsider. The statement said that a silenced bar cannot lead to a strong court. Facebook under scrutiny after a highly controversial Wall Street Journal report. The report quotes current and former Facebook employees and suggests that the company ignored objectionable content from BJP leaders and has a broader pattern of favoritism towards the ruling party. Facebook has rejected the idea that political and business compulsions were a factor in its decision-making. Regardless, the social media giant, which has more than 400 million users in India and a 9.99% stake in Mukesh Ambani's Reliance Jio, is under tremendous pressure to crack down on hate speech. Enforcement Directorate grilled Kerala Chief Minister's former secretary in gold smuggling case. M. Shivashankar, senior IAS officer and former Principal Secretary to Kerala Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan, is being investigated for his alleged links with Swapna Suresh, who is one of the main accused in the case. The Enforcement Directorate has submitted before a special court that Shivashankar was fully aware that Swapna's integrity was in doubt. Meanwhile, the Kerala Chief Minister has written to the Prime Minister seeking an effective and coordinated probe into the incident by central agencies. A Chennai artist has attempted a world record by making Mahatma Gandhi's portrait using coffee. Shivaraman Rajalingam's painting commemorating Independence Day 2020 measures 2020 square feet and is an amalgamation of 74 faces of the father of the nation. It took him 22.5 hours to complete. Photos and videos of Shivaraman's coffee painting are available online and created a buzz even as Independence Day celebrations were muted due to COVID-19. An official confirmation from the Guinness Book of World Records is still awaited. Every Indian citizen is to be issued a unique health ID. On Independence Day, Prime Minister Narendra Modi announced the National Digital Health Mission and a unique health ID, which will have the person's individual details like diseases, diagnosis, reports, and medication. Mr. Modi highlighted that India has risen to the challenge of COVID-19 by manufacturing PPE kits, N95 masks, and ventilators domestically. He said, in a short time, India has gone from doing 300 lab tests a day to conducting more than 7 lakh tests daily. The Prime Minister also stated that presently there are 3 vaccines under development in different stages of testing in the country. Mauritius Oil Spill, India sends help. On July 25th, a Japanese cargo ship struck a coral reef and leaked hundreds of tons of oil into the pristine southeast coast waters of Mauritius. The Indian government has dispatched over 30 tons of technical equipment and material to Mauritius along with a specialized team of the Indian Coast Guard to help with spill containment measures. This was after the Mauritian Prime Minister Pravin Jugnauth declared a state of environmental emergency and asked for international assistance. An Indian film lands a competition slot at the Venice International Film Festival after 20 years. National Award-winning director Chaitanya Tamhane's new Marathi film, The Disciple, has been selected in the competition section of the 77th edition of the Venice Film Festival. The last Indian film to land a slot at Venice was Meera Nair's Monsoon Wedding, which was in 2001. The Disciple is Tamhane's second project and tells the story of a classical vocalist who follows the tradition and teachings of his guru but finds himself challenged by contemporary life. His debut film, Court, has also won several awards, including a national award for Best Feature Film.
The most fascinating water world on earth, the Great Backwaters, Kerala.
Padma Vibhushan recipient and classical vocalist Pandit Jasraj passed away in New Jersey. He suffered a fatal cardiac arrest. Despite belonging to a traditional school of classical music, Pandit Jasraj is said to have pioneered a lighter style of music to make it more audience-friendly. I don't like when people say, "Wo zamana acha tha." This is what he had to say after turning 90 in January. He was totally in sync with current times and used to teach music over Skype. India and the world have lost a legend, a maestro, and a beloved teacher. And that is everything from me for today. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day and we'll see you next week.